here. 15% of the people at home have the faith that Cloud9 will be able to take the win here against Empire today. We did see that go wrong a couple of times already this tournament, so who knows?
Just once or twice. I think that's it as well, is you're looking at a team that's still got a bit of energy, but now they're up against, you know, not just trying to get the first win outside APAC. They're up against a team that's trying to get a little bit of the day back into their favor, because later on Empire are playing G2, who...
Well, I mean, they're not doing too hot, so I'm not sure if you have to be really afraid.
But that's a team now that they're looking at their game versus Empire, and they're saying, this is our must-win right now, in a sense.
Yeah.
That's G2 Empire, that's traditional, they know each other very well. So Empire need to have a bit of a buffer and a bit of an upswing against Cloud9 on Coast.
All right. Valkyrie ban coming out, and a Nomad ban as well. Very usual if you are going to be taking into account that jump outs are a thing. I don't think we have to say more than the previous game if we talk about jump outs. I think Empire perfectly portrayed, or Joystick perfectly portrayed what he meant with that. As he jumped out, the console window all the way burned back down, took out Skies before he rotated back to the side, and as the Mozzie is the last one to be removed, we're heading into Coastline now. So the first prep phase will be for Cloud9 to set themselves up. They will get to choose the side. They start this match. And Empire, well, they got to make sure they have better attacks than they had against Dark Zero, because those were not too good. They started off strong. First round win, good plan. Second round, they managed to get the plan down. However, the retake was too strong. Let's see if they can do better now.
Well, setting themselves up, obviously, it's a huge bout of information that's been taken off the table there with the Mozzie and the Valk gone. It severely limits just how mobile you can kind of be on the defense as well. The pace that Coastline offers in terms of being able to react to what you're told and then getting in and getting aggro amongst that, well, that's been a little bit hampered, but that in no way still hampers them from being able to just, I guess, play around the sort of delicious danger that Coastline is in itself. It's 4 short walls, it's 4 flat sort of faces with only 2 staircases across the board. It's quick to the punch if you know where you want to pull the pinch. It's down to who's got a little bit more confidence and bravado in how they want to move and manipulate this play space.
And we keep calling it the Danger Donut, but as lunch is closed, I'm already excited to see what is in dessert, so I'm not going to be calling that one too much here, as we are going to get started 5v5. Empire on their attack. You see Cloud9 holding off. Not too much barbed wire, I believe, in the cool vibe stairs. That is, okay, there's one at the bottom of it. All right, so normally you either see 1 or 2, maybe a Banshee to back that up, but none of that is the case right now. Just the single barbed wire.
Now bringing the Thatcher, and Malusi's bringing the pain as she instantly opens up some pressure here onto the Lamborghini doorway. They're looking for a bit of a swing here on the white stairs, but Nova's not pushing himself too far. Invitational is the name that we've sort of harped on about a little bit before. He has huge potential. It wasn't shown on the first playday, that's fair to say, but as soon as he starts to find a little bit of his own element, we might start to see the reason C9 are here, but that's not the best opener. Dan drops an easy first pick on Nova as they try to rotate up white.
Trying to rotate up indeed, and Nova will drop. It's going to be the opening for Empire, one that they did manage to get quite often in the previous game. Quickly going to be trying to pull up the stats, but I believe at some point, literally every single round, they had the opening kill for that first half up until, I think it was round number 4 or 5. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to be able to bring these games home or bring these rounds home. And as a bit of Heart Breach is attempted right here. This is the one we normally talk about. If you bring Heart Breach, this is the one you need to use it out as Shao. Find the response down to Dan.
Drops Dan, gets rid of the Thatcher and limits what they can do, but to be fair, as we talk about the hard destruction possibilities, it's not always the be-all and end-all of this site. Obviously, there's a little bit of tech limitations on the backside, including cameras and those jammers, but in the same breath of air, you're not really looking at a Roonies that needed to burn as of yet, which a lot of teams like to play, so they can still sort of pace and pressure themselves accordingly. Aqua steadily being droned and falling into their picture as they try and do this big close across the second story from the east to the west and try and set the sun over Cloud9, but it's whether it blocks it out and blots all of those rays that are coming through from Empire.
60 seconds left. Saito needs to make an opening happen. They know one is on drinks. They know a couple of them are probably around the hookah bar, and as the concussions are being tossed out now, that is to help for a potential push to come in. 50 seconds. There is going to be some pressure coming down from Aqua as well. Smoke canisters are being deployed. It's just who has the last straw right here in this attack in this utility game as we speak.
They're trying to find the feet of anybody that might be in a position to get pushed apart, but Empire, they just want that little bit extra on their edge. You can see they're pining and biting at the ankles and the corners to just pull one more body out of position, one more person out of place, and there it is, swung around. Scyther goes in, gets dropped from the back. Cool Vibes is still locked down. They don't have the cover, and the canister pops off to Invitational. Is able to lock off one, and he finds himself entirely isolated here behind a canister. Joystick wants to creep up, knows he suffers damage, but doesn't get much further as C9 lose the first, but take the round.
Something we did see a lot over the previous game. The entry kill does not necessarily mean that Empire is going to be able to run away with it. Good start here for Cloud9 though. Able to pick up that first round. You don't know how important it will be. You'd have told me that at round number 2 of the last game, that would have been a very decisive factor in Dark Zero's win. Might not have believed him, but you see it again, the opening kill from Dan, but it didn't matter in the end. It was Cloud9 that held on. All the crossfires right there, as you see, just a quick pop-up from Cool Vibes. Enough to make sure that the whole attack was, well, taken care of.
Smooth and steady. Smooth and steady, held on. And that's the important part there, is C9, although they lost that opening body, they were still able to keep their structure. And as I said, you could see Empire were trying to prepare for their execute. They just wanted that first C9 player to swing round, and they got it. But the adaptation there was the choice. Left or right, 50-50. You're swinging behind the one buried in the back bar on the other shield, or there's the chance of someone on Cool Vibes swinging up. It was just a flip of the coin. If there was a head popping up over the shield trying to get the trade in that situation, it could have been 2 for the loss of the life. But C9 was still playing cautious. They didn't overpeak that. They knew that they had the body on Cool Vibes. They also knew that they had one behind Hookah too. So instead they said, well, just stay behind the shield. Don't try and take this as the possibility of a trade. We have a setup elsewhere. He'll swing onto you. We've got this.
Just going to give you a quick update on the previous game, because I'm keeping my eye on that as well, so we can always, reference back a little bit. It was 2-0 for G2, so that's good. Citizen had 8 kills in those 2 rounds. So it seems to be going quite well there over on that side. Not for APAC, that is, but on this side, Cloud9 off to a good start, able to bring their first round in. See if they can expand on that, as Empire again on the attack, trying to work quickly here. Need to take control of Penthouse and VIP. They want to make sure that they have these verticals down into kitchen, down into pantry. Just to make sure that these anchor positions of Cloud9 will not last long. How quickly will they do it?
Bit of pace here from Empire as they steady themselves across, looking towards luggage now too, as Quad gets opened up, trying to force some more uncomfortable angles and places to be played by C9, and also limit those rotations. As we said, this is a big map for the possibility of rotating around the flat floor. Unless you're bringing Oryx to hop up through the hatches, it's generally often a one-way street. The 2 staircases can very quickly be controlled by aggressors, so that's why they're opening those big angles. It limits the space, limits the rotation. You set yourselves up in the position to catch anybody that gets a bit loose, and it's all down now to seeing how long Harper can stick himself. There is the mute, obviously, underneath. They have the potential to try and get a bit of response with a C4. If they get a bit aggro, you can see them moving into position there. They're going to have the call from the mirror window, but it's Invitational that actually opens up against Dan.
He uses that FMG on that smoke, not the shotgun like many might want to see. Harper taking the first pot shots here, but it's not going to be able to hit him yet. A little bit of damage done on Shepard. 2 men down now inside of the shower, and there's a smoke canister dropping them off. There's no way they can go, and if they do, actually pick up the kill. Harper not paying attention, losing his life there, and Joystick following that one up.
Able to get static as well. They went for a bit of a risk there. Wasn't sure if they were going to swing from the shower door. It was waiting for that gas canister and got drive-by with a buck on a mission. But with a minute left, they've got to see if they can turn this into a little bit more as they start steadily digging through, making more and more of the play space uncomfortable inside kitchen and service itself. Nova has gotten himself close to the punch here, waiting for somebody to come through. The first is a drone. Dots himself slightly further away, but that intel will be passed to those aggressors still above with a very quick pickup there. Joystick actually drops down, gets him through the soft wall onto lobby as Invitational still looking for a little bit more aggression from the sky.
This is the issue here. You need a lot of control all around the side, not surely in the side. The Shepherd is getting that defuser down. 45 seconds on the clock right now. Envy picks up one big kill. Turns it into a 2-on-2, but it's a post-plan situation. They have that diffuser down, and the time will start ticking. Shal now needs to move into lobby, even maybe go for a run-out, whilst Always still has that top floor control. The question here is that going to be controlled? That is going to be able to cover off that diffuser or not?
Invitational is the man that's going for the rotation up the top floor, knows that there'll be some vertical presence, always knows it's coming his way, slips out the door just in time, heads out of there, a great decision. They don't need to die right here, right now. Shael has to try and get this diffuser with two bodies covering, no more time, swings wide to try and get an exit, but it's a Claymore on one, and it's a timeout and a Keth in the end on the other. A great pullback there from Empire to get the control they needed and then make sure it mattered in actually getting the execute off.
Well played, indeed. Just making sure that they have that one extra man for the 2v2 situation. Most of the time is running out slowly but steadily. If it would have been a 1v2 situation, one could have just jumped out the window whilst the other was defusing and will have to deal with the player outside before you're trying to go for it. This is actually the moment. Harper not paying attention. I'm not sure what he was afraid of. Maybe a rappel on the window. However, that lost him his life and might have actually lost the round in the end right there, because if he was going to be able to pick up that kill, that could have been the other way around.
I think the situation is, as I was sitting there, I was thinking they know that one's in shower at least. They might not have heard the drop sound on the second, sure, but they 100% knew one person was in that space. He had a C4 in pocket. And at that point, I'm kind of thinking, you know, maybe Hail Mary it on the drop. Maybe just do it. Because if you're going to sit here and try and take the firefight before you go for the drop, that's fine. That's understandable, and that's what a lot of people do. But also, that's with the hope that you're going to make it down inside the lobby and then back into the site itself when there's a clear coming across. Otherwise, you have a bit of confirmed information. You can save your C4 for later, sure, but you could have used it then and it might have had a little bit more of an impact. It might have been able to put a little bit more pressure on and pull you down. Empire, they're meticulous, but that doesn't mean they can't be punished for it.
Definitely so. A singular double kill coming through.
5 seconds remaining.
Now Empire on the attack again. It's Cloud9 that will decide to go to the bars, so they keep on changing it up. They are deciding to not go down to kitchen service again. However, they do deploy a frost mat, as was just quickly highlighted, and that is going to be making sure that the jump in might be a bit more difficult. You also have one onto the blue window and maybe one onto sunrise window, I would assume, or no, down there inside of hookah, next to the door. It's going to be making sure that if they do directly move towards the left and they cannot get picked up by the vertical, might actually step inside of that mat.
Now it comes a clear in the same way so far, getting themselves up on the top here with the Buck doing a bit of the driving and Operator, who's fallen out of favoritism over the course of the past year, obviously since losing his frag grenades, but Coast is actually a map where he sees a fair bit of presence. His ability to get in and underneath a lot of these soft floors just allows you so much more angle and so much more verticality in a site and a map that is very often built around it for a lot of teams.
Not just that, but the skeleton key also more often than not used now to deal with players on close angles. When you know there's a smoke around the corner at the M59, you just peek around with that skeleton key. Try and pop off some shots yourself right before he can take you out. That is, for example, what we often see in APAC. Napier was a good example of that before he moved down to Apex South. So I have no clue if he's still up to it. But always definitely having an opportunity to do that if the C8 ever is not going to be the preferred weapon for him.
Well, still trying to crack their way down here, and as I said, they're often meticulous, but Harper, he's able to get a response. Scyther goes down, they lose the fear, they lose a lot of the charges in the pockets, and still one drone in presence that won't any longer be moved, but that didn't slow Empire before. They've so far suffered the previous two engagements, and they were able to pull the last one into their favor. Can they get a little bit aggressive here on the hookah door? You can hear all of the utility popping over the shoulders behind Shyle. Invitational gets one, and Shyle gets one more. Almost got two. There it is! Threw a 360 in for the mix, and the style points makes it a little bit tricky. And now, well, tricky is all Joystick has left in front of him. The 5 versus 1 with 40 seconds left to see if he can dig anything back. Look at the blue bodies repositioning and retaking all of the flat ground here. 1 over past Sunrum into the office here, looking for the split on the opposite side. Shyle has crept his way all the way along, waiting for somebody to put pressure on from the other side. Joystick drops 1, and now it's a 4 versus 1. But now that's another 20 seconds that's gone by. There's another great pick from Joystick from deep. And he's suddenly finding himself with a smorgasbord of 1 versus 1s, but can he stuff himself full and try and find a full meal here, or is he sort of just nipping at straws and hoping to try and have something to wade his time and his temper for? Digs himself down the corridor, suffers a little bit more, and finally dropped by static. C9 find their second.
Yeah, there was no way he was going to be winning that one. Of course, he managed to pick up 2 of those kills, but no diffuser in hand. Everybody was way too spread out to go for a singular push and just outgunned them as they were. And thus you have C9 taking the round and taking the lead. 2-1 is the current scoreline, and we are going to hookah yet once again. Cloud9 trying to defend that one against Empire. Who do have some nice little shots every now and then, but look at that Shyle just with that double kill. Beautifully played. I was for a second afraid that he would have missed the second one as he rotated off, but he just flicked back on right after, so no need to worry.
Well, as he said, we're rotating back round to hookah here. We find ourselves in a situation where Empire, this was the only round they were able to get that opener against Nova, who is playing a little bit bold and brash on white stairs. They haven't been able to find their way into this game so far, but if we're going to talk about 2 players that have Joystick, he's remembered how to attack since not really being able to find anything in the previous matchup against Dark Zero. And you're like, why are you saying that? And I'm saying, well, he ended the half with 1 kill over his 6 attacks. Here, within 3 rounds, he's found 5. But also, if I'm going to highlight that, I'm going to have to talk about Invitational. He really just couldn't get off the mark after the first play day. He found himself in a situation where he was -3 across the whole day, which for a player who was often the top KD in his entire region, that was a pretty bad day for him.
It was a pretty bad day, but we have to put a little asterisk next to Joystick's name. He managed to get 2 kills down in round 3, which they lost, of course, and then a triple kill in round number 2, which they won. So when he did go big, that is indeed when they won the round. So the secret here is really to let Joystick get some kills before he's the only one left. And then as soon as you do that, then you're going to be off to a good start here. Sure, he's not the last man standing. Of course, he has clutch potential, but a 1v5 is not something you would like to go up against.
Waiting and baiting and holding those angles and hoping as Empire try and get some clarity here. C9 so far, the way that they've lent into these early firefights has definitely been a bit of a step up. The first round was a bit of a, okay, this hasn't worked, but the next 2, they've definitely made it work to try and get that initial point of ingress and aggression here. They're playing with the space just long enough for them to be able to pull themselves back and get themselves restructured around their site itself as they allow Empire some time and some space now to try and clear across VIP, get the big angle deep into the billiards from the opposite side of Hall of Fame. They are peppering those off. I'm not entirely sure.
Evil Eye. Yeah.
Evil Eye, deep in the middle of the courtyard, drops all of those pellets on the wall.
Must have been so confusing there for Empire. 12 of those pallets lost. Actually, none left at all anymore on the likes of Shepard. Having no opportunity to open up and make these angles happen as Ash charges, however, are exploding. Making their impact known. Envy going up the bullet hole at the moment would actually come in. That's a C4 being tossed in. Gets the kill down onto Joystick. The opening of the round. Could have been a double kill if he was a bit more patient there, but always he finds a response then onto Envy.
Yeah, sprays through, drops the man, and now they're putting pressure onto Harper as well, who's drifting and trying to find a little semblance of safety here on Cool Vibes. But Empire being able to battle back, and well, that's the big killers off of both teams at this point. It's down to the scrap for the rest of the players who otherwise haven't really been able to find their way into this game as of yet. Shael, though, he's trying to make sure he can catch up, and he does. Gets the man through the broken vase and waits as the canister pops off and offers some clarity. Aqua is where the next port of pressure is coming through, as Dan is able to get one more on Hookah's side. They're putting a lot of pressure on that man behind the hookah balk, but they still have the fourth behind the bar. Maybe no longer, as always. Might have got that one from underneath in that situation. 15 seconds, though, and Shepard's got to see if he can find a way to get this diffuser into Aqua. They go deep, and they get dropped for it. Dan finally clears through, and always locks the last off, did the work underneath, and was able to get up in time to get the last one they needed.
Well played, Dad, bringing it back to an equalizer, 2-2-2. And as this time we're quickly checking if his robotic eye still works. We are getting into the latter half of the first half. Seeing whether or not Cloud9 is going to be able to close this one off with at least a 3-3, or maybe even build their advantage up to a 4-2. Would be great, given the fact that the games haven't really been going their way yet. Just a win against Cyclops. That is not the result they were hoping for. They want to get some international wins right here. They want to go to the playoffs as well. So they are in need to grab as many as they potentially can. Of course, currently still G2 and Cyclops at the bottom of the board, fighting it out in the meantime. But one of those will be ending up in a win here today.
They're doubling down. Inside Hookah, they think they can make it work for the third time as they did the first time round this way. They're setting themselves up, obviously, yet again to, I guess, see if they can build upon that early fight. That opening body that they are able to drop took out Joystick earlier on in the round, but then lost to a buck of always that made sweet business underneath. The push that they decided to do against the Hookah Balk, it was a good idea. As I said, you could see the pressure coming from 3 direct points. One body on Aqua, one on a Hookah Balk, and then the buck underneath. They had a situation where out of all of them, if they could cut one of those bodies off, they could be in a much better situation, have much more sort of space to act and react to the pressure from beneath.
All right, heading into the action phase C4, this time being pulled. Oh, gonna have to toss it out. No drops coming out as we speak. Cloud9 is gonna be trying to make this roam game happen. Envy just running around, going over to the kitchen soon. He's afraid someone might be in there, but it's not going to be the case, as literally every single Empire member, I believe, is either on the roof or trying to clear out that second floor as we speak. And Envy moving back up the white stairs might have been spotted out by the drone right there, so he has to be careful to not be pushed. I believe Joystick is actively hunting for him.
Yeah, and this is a man who is really dedicated to his cause of trying to cause trouble and kill people at the end of it, making sure he digs his way through his opponents as quickly as possible. So far, again, they've had a bit of time and a bit of space. Aruni's on the board. This is an operator I talked about earlier where you're looking at the Thatcher, you're looking at all this burn of utility too. She has a huge play presence recently. And talking of presence, Joystick has decided to make his one known here as the gate gets popped and the barbed goes too. They're looking for the close corners here on the default plant spot, pops it round but knows that that gate would catch that explosion, so can't go much deeper, waiting and trying to bait as much time. Might not have been able to swing with the confidence that he wanted to, as they're still making sure they're secure elsewhere, but otherwise all those blue bodies are generally still playing and consisting around the site. Static, the first to suffer inside, hops back round. It was the buck pressure from Aqua Balk that put him with a little bit of food for thought, but Empire, they're still just trying to find their route in.
Trying to find their way in, indeed. Need to find an opening somewhere, and it's, well, the opening that comes in, but not for them. It's Static. And they'll be getting the first kill through the opening made by the Hibana. Sighted that drops inside of VIP, holding that angle, trying to make sure that Drinks was unplayable. Well, keep control of it for now, and as Dan is busy opening up some windows, it's still up to debate whether or not they seem to be going for an Aqua push or not, because well, it is indeed the 3 members around there, but you still have that 1 member on Hookah.
Invitational underneath with a C4 could be a big blow, but so could this. The man goes deep and gets rewarded by a double kill. Joystick has himself in a great position, has himself a 4K. Joystick goes absolutely monumental through the billiards and pockets every single player but one. Invitational is the last man left. He can't creep up the stairs though. Dan's there to make sure no entrance and no cool vibes for you.
he just sneaks in, gets 1, gets 2, 3, and you know what? Let's go for 4 as well. Joystick absolutely insane there. Wasn't given the ace in the end right there, but that win will be what they need. And the man, well, just sitting there drinking some water, you know, stay hydrated. It's not a day in the office. We're back in 2019. And they're going to step it up. They're going to go for it. It is the lead now for Empire. Here you have it again. 1 kill. Swaps over to the second. Static didn't even know yet. The call wasn't even coming through yet. That's how quick he was. Just able to pick up all 4. You saw the cover coming down right there. The Jaeger from FaZe just holding it. And then you're like, all right. The Maestro is going to be holding off onto Hookah because it could be a push coming through there itself. But not the case. He just killed them and went for the next kill as well. Absolutely beautifully played. But we are going to the next side. It is going to be the bar. Sunrise and Blue. C9, they have their last defensive round for now. Question is if they're going to be able to hold on. Shields are being put down. ADS is in place as well. Banshee in the middle of it. Trying to make sure there is going to be some cover, but is that a reinforced wall or not? I cannot see. No, it's soft again. Now, we do see many different teams do many different things.
Now we do.
Some people don't reinforce anything. Some people reinforce the left side. Some reinforce the right side of that wall. Like, I understand the right side. I don't understand the left side still. I might just be not big brain enough to understand. If
just not with it.
If someone can explain me, please, thank you. I would really appreciate that.
You gotta ask the coaches.
If any of the coaches are listening, probably not. They're either watching the game on mute, making notes or not. But if someone does, please let me know because I cannot understand that.
Well, what Cloud9 can't understand is how to finish off getting that opener. 4 out of the previous 5 rounds, they have been the ones that are able to get the opening kill, and only 2 of them have converted into a win. There's 1 more, but can they do what they haven't been able to do? They lose always. This time another name and a different one gone from the pockets of Empire. You lose your buck here with that access above, a lot of destruction, but you still have the sledge. So attacking down, it's not the worst thing to happen. You're not trying to dig your way up Hookah as you might otherwise be here. It's just a, you know, still you've lost the opening body. What can you make of this next?
2 to 3. Again, the kill is here for Empire. Not that it seemed to be mattering too much for them the last time around as Joystick just snuck in and got a casual 4K.
Honestly.
You know, he just did that. It's totally okay. There's no worries with it. It's a great play. The man is on fire today since he went on defense up against Dark Zero. It's going to be up to him now to try and maybe see if they can open up any further as Dan putting up some pressure there. No one is in office. Are they going to be able to find the angle or is he going to lose his feet? Because Opera might be aware of the fact that one is there. Both are holding one another. And office is a very key position if you want to go for that blue plant. So Empire do need to decide where they want to push from, and they need to decide it now. There's more bodies towards the actual office side, but as I said, of course, literally everybody is moving themselves across towards Hookah, trying to get some vertical play, and have to be careful about the frost mats that have been located. You don't want to lose anybody in that. Say that as one almost steps in. C4 gets used, no exit, no actual damage coming through, but with 45 seconds left, they need to push now.
Holding the close default plant angle here. There's a Banshee that can cry. I think that might have just survived the Thatcher, but I could be incorrect. What is definitely happening now, though, is that hole is going to become a very tough place to play. He's waiting for this to pop off. He finds himself entirely isolated at this situation, pops a shot off and is able to somehow slip out of there, but with 30 seconds, he knows the pressure will not be far behind. Tries to hold the close window here with the cover coming from the corridor by his teammates. Joystick suffers some scrapes and scratches underneath as he tries to careen down cool vibes. It's Shepard that gets the opener on the entrance here, but Invitational knocks them both back with a double downstairs. Shayal is able to get one more. Suddenly Dan is isolated outside both of the bars. No entry as he's dropped, and Cloud9 find themselves an even half.
3-3 split indeed. You see some tense faces, some happy faces on the likes of Cloud9. This is definitely a proper half, you would say. Now Empire is going to go over to the defense, and this is where APAC should be coming in to shine. They do like some aggression every now and then. They do like to bring operators like Finka to deal with difficult situations. Now, we haven't seen it from them yet. There's always an opportunity that on a map like Coastline, a map where aggression is key and vital, it could be coming in. Is this static? Are you going to be doing it? Please. No, okay, Sledge. Unfortunate. I thought maybe they were going to do it, but no. Not yet. Maybe later.
The Ash to the Sledge is a bit of a choice. I guess I'm trying to think what they're going to think that they can bait and apply the pressure here on. If they're going to say, well, we've only got 2 grenades. Ha ha ha, you thought. And they might be able to burn their way through a certain hold where Empire feel that they're a bit safer on. Otherwise, just kind of like, okay, well, you know, let's see how they respond to this with C9. They have a bit of work here to do, obviously. Empire are a very solid defensive team. They proved that coming back from a 5-1 deficit to at least get the stretch of OT in their previous game. They know how to play this game and how to keep control. It's down to C9 if they can clear that pocket of space and stick that diffuser down, which is a game that they've been okay at. They've got 3 plants over the first playdate itself, but the first playdate didn't have some of their players stepping up as they have.
And important to keep in mind as well, there's not just 4 grenades, there's also 4 smokes available on the likes of Cloud9. We have seen how important these smoke executes could be. Makers, for example, yesterday against TSM, able to overrun them on Church Arsenal. So who knows, that might be something Cloud9 is planning for, but always he's ahead of the curve. We'll be taking care of Harbor with a spawn peak. That is your smokes gone, 2 of them at least. Some of the Twitch drones that could have been used to try and take out the ADSs.
He went for a second as well. C9, they're a little bit casual on their approach there, and you probably think and hope, well, they're not going to do that again. It was just a pretty standard hold there and waiting for somebody to get too close, and Dan's going to double down, lying down on the bathroom floor. Only really worth it if you're in the situation of playing at the Siege Invitational. Otherwise, if you're at home, don't lie on the bathroom floor. It's not recommended.
Yeah, no, not recommended. Not very sanitary. Unless you just clean it, maybe, but then still, why would you?
I don't think you should add a start to that, but what you should add now is that C9 have found their way inside the building. The Gemini is making her way steadily round luggage with Static not too far behind. Gets dropped. Look at the body, though, down in office. They have the potential to lop a C4 up. I believe it's Scyther that's ready and waiting. Yes, it is. With the C4 on anything that can get a little bit too close on Static's entrance. He'll be aware of the pressure, as obviously the floor just popped out from in front of him, but there's another English shotgun just on the corner.
You think the shotgun is below, it's actually on the side as well. The first smoke canister gets popped. It's going to be dealing a little bit of damage there to Static. The grenade will come out and destroy the ADS. It's not going to be enough yet, though, to deal much pressure down onto Shepard. Second smoke canister will be popped. He gets droned out as well as he's trying to hide behind the bar. Might be getting some other pressure soon. Is that the Yana playing there? Seems like it, but the grenade will not pop. Gets the kill instead.
Yeah, they went wide to try and throw that grenade through, and what a perfect play there by Shepard, able to take the head off the man. The diffuser has changed hands yet again. There's a C4, and there it goes. There's the last canister to make sure that he only has one place to fight, and you can see the blue bodies have gone for a bit of a rotate here. Envy Taylor has no way in. Static, though, has always his number. They find their first for the round. They find themselves a little breath of fresh air as they try and dig up on a secondary point of push. They did not have any control on luggage side, but it looks like they're actually getting a little bit, again, a change of heart. Let's try luggage yet again. Another sort of big rotate round as they find themselves back here up on the second story. Not going to push the bottom of Cool Vibes. Instead, going to try and go a little bit deeper on the opposite corridor. If they can twin this here, Shepard says no way. Looks for one more with the shotgun and finds it. Knocks a man over the balcony edge, and now just his time to relax, put his feet up and look at the fish, as there's no way they can get close to that diffuser. So Empire find their first defensive round.
4-3 indeed. They start their defense off strong. You could all start this off with the little, of course, first of all, the spawn peak. Let's just put that out there. There was a spawn peak that already puts you down on a deficit. One man down on the likes of Cloud9. But then you have like the smoke play coming through. You have to worry about below, you have to worry about the side. The smoke canister chipping away a bunch of HP. And, well, as they thought it would be safe to get that grenade in, as Shepard was struggling so much with that drone, he was a bit too aggressive right there. Showed his head he got taken out as a result, and Shepard just from there on able to pick up that triple kill, make sure Aquarium was his to have and no one else to take. And with that, they take the win. They take the round, put themselves up with 1 extra. That allows Empire to maybe build on their lead right now. You do see the mirror is coming out. We are going to kitchen and service, so you know we could be seeing one aimed. No, okay, never mind. It's a reverse reinforcement. I'm not saying a thing.
Not saying anything?
Well, probably the mirror window's going upstairs then. You know, that's the only other. Yeah, well, yes, but then the other mirror window will go upstairs. So, at least I think. I don't know. You know, I've been wrong multiple times before. The call I had was the window.
We saw some very cool mirror windows here before.
We have, yes.
We've seen, obviously, was it in an 18?
Penthouse, I believe.
That did one. Was it OXG? No.
I don't know who it was, but it was actually on the penthouse from the wall, just opening up the complete theater left side wall towards bedroom, so they could look through and challenge the window with it.
I think it was definitely an NA team.
Yeah.
When they did the adaptation, they had I think it was a shield on 90 as well, so they could have a little bit of a place.
There's a bunch of NA teams yesterday, so the chance pretty bigly it was an NA team.
I think it was something. There's been a lot of siege over the past few days, but either way, it's otherwise a bit of a standard extension here. They have some safety and some semblance of aggression, and a man hopped up on a sunrise bar to see if he can, well, set the sun on the clouds that are otherwise trying to approach from that split door. No, they're droning out. As I said, we're going to see C9 probably approach with a lot more caution rather than the way they just kind of screamed towards the building itself earlier and got dropped for the trouble. Dan, he's on the Oryx. This is the operator I harped on about before. He has such huge potential on Coastline.
We never really see the potential coming into play, however, though.
But he has it.
He has the potential, yet the potential is still unshown for a long, long time, as Shotgun is playing close here from Joystick. Will be trying to go for it, gets the kill onto Shal. Shal just runs away, had no clue one was playing that close, and well, why would he? Why would he peek from that?
Well, now they're aware that he's there, but they don't respond to it. Joystick, you're not allowed to do that with that gun. Finds one more and pulls himself back into Sunrise. Now he's under pressure from above and gets locked off, but look at what he's taken out of the attackers, and look at how he's been able to do it without really allowing them any pressure or presence onto Sunrise itself.
Those were 2 steals. Like, it was not allowed to have either of those in that on that range. Just basically the right timing, the right plays. You know, the beautiful kills coming through nonetheless, and well, finally shut down. They do have the Sunrise bar under control now, finally, on the likes of Cloud9, but they still need to get into the kitchen. They still need to get into service entrance, whichever one it may be. There's only one player around there, so they might have the opportunity to try and overrun them, but have to be careful because there is that lobby presence. There is these holes, these ankle holes, to make sure that the plans will be very tough to follow up with, and there is the flank as well, potentially.
They're trying to be aware of that body of Oryx, but obviously when he's playing not too far away from the luggage hatch, he can try and hop up and hop round for the rotate, even though there's only 40 seconds left. They've got to try and formulate their attack now and make sure that it counts. Goes with the grenade close, just behind the counter, see if they can catch anyone on the other side of the bomb chassis. But look at the long fire lines that Empire have set themselves up here. One in lobby, one down inside kitchen service, and then one either side above as well. They are locked across 2 stories with all eyes pointed towards just this. Swung in on the kitchen door. Quick reaction there with another SMG kill coming through the board and one more up top. Empire finally put a bit of distance between them and Cloud9.
Well played, and that's when you see the setup really coming into play. Cloud9 already on a disadvantage right there, having to deal with it. They try to run through, but there's literally angles everywhere covering of that diffuser. Both players trying to go for it, gets taken out. And as a result, it is now Empire that is on a 3-5 lead, having the opportunity to fight for match point now. And as I say that, talking about that match point, I believe on the other stream we have reached the same point. It is G2 that is currently leading 6-3 against Cyclops. So far, not really going too well yet for APAC.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle, APAC, so far on their showing here. And, you know, obviously Cloud9, they're kind of coming in a little bit more of the favorites than Cyclops, and that they're one of the strongest in the region. They were very strong throughout all of 2020 to get here. They were one of the top seeds as well from all of the work that they were able to do. And their faces that have been on this sort of stage performance before, but the mistakes that we were seeing on the first day, on the first play day, their inability to sort of kind of work on their opening and the success that they have getting the opening kill seems to just consistently be pulling them down a little bit. They find themselves a little bit lost in the source against all the different regions, and when things start to slip away, other teams, they're here with just as much ferocity to try and pull it back into their favor.
We actually have 5 opening kills here for Cloud9 over the last 9 rounds. And well, I'm not sure because one of them still needs to pop up. So I forgot about round number 9. Let me just quickly.
Everything on defense so far for Empire has been them as the opening.
Okay, so it's 5. It's 5 on 4 in that case right now in opening kills in favor of Cloud9. Yeah, it's the round count very much in favor for the likes of Empire. Or 5 on 3, I have to say.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, Empire, they have some confidence, and as we said, they're a very good defender side. And also, hey, they know how to use that SMG, huh?
Oh, yeah, well, yes, Joystick showed that. He was going to be able to pick up, first of all, the kill onto Shao that was running away. Of course, did not expect the peak to be happening, and then he went for another. What do you do, Joystick? he's just doing stuff. You're not allowed. Okay, he's just gonna do weird stuff, right? He's just gonna play like a gold. We would say, you know, sit in random corners that they wouldn't expect if they don't drone, and gets these kills. Of course, it's SI on the line, and Envy this time with the opening kill will be taken care of always. Joystick's still on the board. You have to be careful for that man because he's on fire these last couple of days.
Yeah, finally finding some success here. Envy has gone over to the Ash to see if he can just start trying to put some bodies down, and they're feeling a little bit of that pressure now, and they know how important this game is for them to try and just pull some success. Empire have come off the back of a very long first series, and Cloud9 so far, before the 10.5, were able to kind of keep their pace with Empire. This is a map that can play into quick-fire aggression and the sort of plays that C9 are very good at. It's just finding the ability to punish Empire for their confidence, their bravado, and sometimes their peculiar positioning. Either way, it's been working very well for them, getting in, getting aggressive, getting out, and kind of not getting punished for it, most importantly.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? Joystick just goes wherever he pleases, gets all these kills without being punished. Like that. You know, okay, so, you know, there was no cover this time. He probably knew that. The drone is coming out. There's a lot of pressure coming down from the top floor, but at the same time, it's like a big risk to go for that drone. If someone would have been covering, you would have been dead there. But still, the man advantage is here for Cloud9, and we'll be trying to build up onto that. They know one of the members of Empire is inside of Office, and if they manage to pick up that kill, they might be able to rush themselves onto that A-bomb site.
Now, they're looking to try and apply some split pressure. Still concerned about the swing, as you said, from Office, but here it comes deep onto split. There's a spray. There's one drop, but there's some revenge. 5 versus 3, but a man's on the floor. They're actually going to get him back up to make sure they have a full-strength push. Caught in the smoke. Can't quite find his way out. It's a double kill for Invitational, though, as they find some success, but it's panic now, and pings from deep, and Dan, with one more, puts them in a 2 versus 2, but the diffuser is cold. There's only 5 seconds. They have to try and scream their way through. They can't quite make it. Empire,
We've got it
just in the nick of time. They're able to stick down on the diffuser, but you are suddenly covering every angle. You cannot cover them all. And Empire clutch themselves out to put themselves on map point.
It tossed out the smoke canister onto that diffuser. Like, all right, it's going to stay there. It's going to stay put. They have to chase us down. One of them went upstairs, the other one went into the lobby. Like, we're very spread out. There's no way they can get us, but we're close enough to try and deal with the challenge if it needs to be taken in the 7 seconds that it might go over time. So, a tactical timeout coming out from Cloud9. They are, of course, on the brink of defeat. One more round, and it will be Empire that is walking away with a point here after they were just beaten by Dark Zero barely. And it is going to be a close one. Here you see it again, just in time with the defuse. However, I believe it was a jump out that we saw happening that made the cover go for the outside window, because that would have been the direct threat. Of course, had no information on the player in lobby that could get a direct angle down. So, Cloud9 are trailing 3 rounds up onto Empire. And Empire, they can choose to close this out right now. They have 3 rounds to get a successful defense, and they are going to hookah billiards first. It's going to be their first choice. Don't see any weird operators so far, so I think we're just going to see a pretty normal setup coming down from them.
Empire know how important this game is. Obviously, they're looking at this as a team that come through on the top of the table, but taking a knock early on, you're still looking at a lot of games left. You're still looking at a lot of seeding left too. You have to try and keep some momentum. Okay, you're not the unbeaten team in this entire competition. That's not the worst thing in the world, because it's the competition of the best teams in the world, and you can still make your mark as that #1 seed. You can still put that fear in everybody, and it starts with a bounce back here instantly against another top team from a region. So, 3 rounds threaded in a row at this point in time. Only one more to lock it out and put yourself on a 7-3. C9, you're finding yourself close on attacks yet again, but it's just that final 20-30 seconds, as it seemed to plague them on the first playday, that cannot seem to work right.
It's funny to say that Empire was one of the, I believe, bottom 6 teams on the table that managed to make it in on base and the side points. 625 there, and of course the November Major able to end up with a bunch of them because of that. They were 8th in the first stage, so it's basically only due to the November Major win and their placement in EUL. And then we're going over to Cloud9 and we're going to check how much points they had. I believe they were #1, shared with Giants and a couple of other teams. Yes, indeed, as they had a first place finish and a second place finish on the Major, but yet Empire, the one that really came alive in the off-season here, and in stage 1 was disappointing, showing that they are indeed a team to be feared on LAN.
All right, C9 trying to get all the intel they can. Yet again, we're seeing them juggle a lot of operators. Invitational is now the one picking up the mantle of Twitch to see if they can have some success. We've seen them be quite malleable in the selections that they want to do. They're trying to find a solution to the problem of how do we stop and how do we break this Empire defense, but most importantly, how do we finish and close out a round? And it seems like the first bit of attention is being paid towards Dan. We have one loose body on the split of Sunrise here, but the others are otherwise making sure their presence is known above and inside service itself. Lobby and front door is open with one man loose, hopped up on a sofa. That's not how you sit, but I guess things are slightly different in the world that Russia is entirely controlling on Coastline.
Slap squat on top of the couch.
That's it.
That's it. That's the way they do it. There are only 5 kills removed from getting themselves a 4th win in the last 5 matches they have played, and we'll be more than happy with that one. They managed to make it succeed. You do still see some barricades coming out right there. That is the kitchen that now gets removed. Joyce that went aggressive apparently decides to, you know what, let's just close that door again. Make sure they have to put in even more pressure if they want to be moving in from Sunrise Bar, because it is going to be hookah billiards. The Sunrise Bar is a very important site, especially if there would be a buck, which is not the case. They've chosen for the sledge again, and that means that if they want to go vertical, they need to do that with the Sofia.
Still a steady clear and still a steady presence. They haven't been able to find that opener so far. They're gathering intel, and there's a little bit there. That's the player with the C4 underneath that was a bit of a problem before. They didn't go for the direct clear here, but instead, well, they're kind of just holding on. They've gone for the corridor push as an earlier point of ingress this time round. Instead, it was a bit of a last hurrah previously. This time, they're thinking, well, maybe this will be where the weakness is, and they at least are able to drop always. First body off the board still leaves a lot of utility in the pockets of the players left, but nothing to really dig in with explosives from underneath. Just has to be guns towards the close. There goes the Banshee on the billiards table, and there goes the first smoke canister to try and meter them. You're looking at that. You're looking at only 20 seconds left and 2 more canisters. That door is effectively locked off without taking a huge amount of damage, but it's Joystick that deals it back. Dan puts the body balance with Shepard, locking it down. They dig deep and try to repeat what was done to them, going all the way into the center heart and the core of billiards, but with no time left, Empire bounce back and get one more win under their belt.
There we have it. The next win from Empire is there.